Welcome to the SImple Sophisticate podcast, where intelligent living is paired with signature style. I'm your host, Shannon Ables. And whether you're listening on your commute, exercising, working in the garden, or sitting down with a hot cup of tea or a café au lait, thank you for tuning in. Let's get started. Welcome to 2015. It is here, a new year, another chance to improve upon what we have done so far, and we will do that. You and I will both do that. I am absolutely assured of that fact. And if you are a reader of the blog, you may have stopped by on Thursday, on January 1st, to see what this year is going to be about on the Simply Luxurious Life and therefore the SImple Sophisticate here on the podcast. And the undercurrent or the main theme of, for the most part, everything we're going to talk about this year is this idea of getting back to simple. Back to simple. Now, this doesn't mean that we're going to be getting down and living minimalistic simply for the fact of having less. It's about getting rid of what's not necessary so that we can live more fully and more fulfilled as we pursue our goals, pursue our intentions, pursue that life that we desire. And so today, what I'm going to be talking about is being a romantic, with a capital R though. So if any of you out there are perhaps getting really excited because I'm going to talk about love today, no. While what we will talk about today will affect our love life, absolutely will affect our love life, we're going to talk about being a romantic in a bigger concept, which I think you will appreciate even more. I'm going to talk about it in the sense of the romantic period, of what the actual idea of being a romantic is, this idea of thinking outside the box. So to kind of give you an idea of where we're going today, I'm going to share with you a quote to kind of kick us off. It's by Winston Churchill, and it says, quote, "When it comes to living romantically, one shouldn't follow a roadmap. It's something you should discover through contemplation and intuition," end quote. And I can't think of a better way to live, as it is really part of what living simply luxuriously is living a conscious life, making choices each day consciously, purposefully living the life we want, not just following along, right? So being a romantic is just part of living simply luxuriously. So the part that I'm really wanting us to dive into is this idea of living or thinking outside the box, of not being limited by the boundaries that are instituted by society or even by our own experiences. And as such, I want us to gravitate to a higher, more historically accurate, as I mentioned just a minute ago, definition of the term romantic. Quote, "A romantic pursues a life philosophy that prizes the rejection of pure rationalism in favor of intuition, imagination, and emotion. The embrace of nonconformity and sincerity, a tendency towards nostalgia, and the celebration of curiosity, spontaneity, and wonder," end quote. The Romantic period, really quickly, a brief history lesson. The Romantic period is loosely attributed to have been begun in the late 16th century, which would be when the French Revolution began, and wrapping up towards 1850, so just prior to the Civil War, so the antebellum period there when that wraps up. Now, why did the Romantics come about? Well, first of all, they valued intuition, as we've been saying repeatedly, and they have valued feelings and emotions over rationalism, and they began to step away from this notion of the industrialized revolution, the Enlightenment period. Why? Honestly, there's all sorts of philosophies on this, but at the root of it, to simplify it, it was about living a quality life for the individual, not for the masses, to return to simplicity and authenticity. And I could not agree with this philosophy more. I mean, granted, there's all sorts of ideas of how this is to be done, but at the basics, at the core of it, concept seems pretty sound if one is going to reach their full potential or desires to reach their full potential. The transcendentalist movement, a little bit more history here real quickly, also coincides with this romantic period. You may have heard of Henry David Thoreau or Ralph Waldo Emerson. They valued, again, nature simplicity over the city life, over organized religion, and anything that they believed stifled and limited one's creativity and the ability to be their true or innate selves. So in other words, in order for us to discover our full potential, to curate that life that dances with our predilections and our curiosities, we must be willing to look outside the confines that may be limiting what we can do. By choosing to embody this premise of being a romantic with a capital R, we are choosing to welcome infinite possibilities as to how our lives can and will, if we have the courage, will unfold. We are choosing to be the curators of our own lives and not wanting to be led around by the nose and follow like sheep, mindlessly, blindly. Is being a romantic easy? No, absolutely not. Nothing really, though, in life is ever going to be easy if it's worthwhile. That has been my experience, and I know many others have experienced the same thing. It takes a strong individual, a strong heart, and a courageous mind to seek what hasn't been proven, to do what may have never been done, or at least hasn't been done within your peer group, or that you observed outside in the world that surrounds you. But the gift of being a romantic is that when you harness your courage, you will unleash a world of amazing possibilities that will occur in your life, and you'll be so thankful you did it. Today, I'm going to share 6 realities that can occur when you choose to tap into your romantic self. Yes, a romantic tendency most likely already resides within you. I actually am very confident in that. Why? If you've ever had hope that something would work out, even though all the odds are stacked against you, that most likely they won't, but still for some reason there's something about it that you still hold out some even small tendency of hope, you have inside you an innate romantic tendency. Whether this was instilled in you by the books you read, the films you watched, or simply by your own imagination, you have within you a romantic spirit that is waiting to be acknowledged and granted permission to come alive. All right, so let's get started. Let's dive into these 6 realities that could and will occur when you start tapping into your romantic self. Number 1, the beauty of gray. And you're like, what the heck? What's she talking about? Well, first, let me just share with you a quote by Winston Churchill again, one of our historical figures that has been defined by many people as being a romantic. Quote, "The human story does not always unfold like an arithmetical calculation on the principle that 2 and 2 make 4. Sometimes in life they make 5 or -3, and sometimes the blackboard topples down in the middle of the sum and leaves the class in disorder and the pedagogue with a black eye. The element of the unexpected and the unforeseeable is what gives some of its relish to life and saves us from falling into the mechanic thraldom of the logicians." End quote. Unlike logical, concrete thinkers, a romantic realizes that often the answers to life are not black and white. Rather, there is a lot of gray, which, initially this may be kind of frightening. I mean, to know that you don't know what could happen or what the possibilities could be, that can be daunting, understandably. But if you think about this a little bit more, contemplate this a little more further, I think you'll see this is good news. This is actually good news. If you only accept that there are 2 answers to how any event will turn out in your life, black or white, then if the outcome you wish to happen doesn't work, you could be devastated. But if you know that shades of gray exist, that you will be able to attend the school you want, just maybe not when you had planned on going, or he is interested but wasn't able to respond promptly when you texted because his phone battery was dead, then you have reason to remain hopeful. That's the beauty of gray. The only reason black and white came to be accepted as the norm is because it is a simple way of explaining life. And we're always looking for ways to simplify things. And I know I said we're getting back to simple as this year's theme, but if we simplify something in a way that it can't be actually proven, That's actually a way of lying to ourselves. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We want the truth, and then we want to know how to navigate. And sometimes it's not going to be easy. And in this case, it can be fascinating because we don't know how it's going to turn out. But if we believe in the beauty of gray, we can remain hopeful. Life is a mystery. Life could surprise us. It can absolutely electrify us. It can mystify us, but it could be also a way to show us that, you know what, things that we could never imagine can happen. And that is what makes life exciting to live. All right? Life is never truly simple. We simply need to know how to navigate it. And that is what can be simplified by not living in someone else's definition of how something should go. All right, that's number one, the beauty of gray. That's one reality that can come out of being a romantic. Number two, it can establish more security and success in your life. If you are indeed a romantic, similar to Winston Churchill, you are grounded in the realities of now and what has happened in the past. So you're not ignoring that. You're not dismissing that. You're accepting it. Also, you are logical enough to have common sense. You know how to navigate the realities of today's world. You know that money must be in your account in order to withdraw it. You respect speed limits. They need to be obeyed. And if they're not, there are consequences. And you accept that taxes must be paid. However, you also pay attention, deeply so, to your intuition. So if you're a romantic, you are someone who has honed your intuition, and it is something you have to cultivate. It doesn't just happen. And as I've talked about in previous posts, intuition is a muscle. And sometimes intuition is asking for more information. It doesn't have everything that it needs to make a decision. That's good. Understand that. Intuition is something we cultivate, we grow with experiences. And then we catalog all those experiences, and then it will churn out information for us. Take, for example, the stock market. If you are a savvy, in-the-know investor, you know that a capitalist economy ebbs and rises. And as such, when it ebbs and you have money, you know this is a savvy time to invest in the right venture because prices are low. Logically, such a decision may not make sense on the surface, but due to historical understanding of the market and how it works, a proper education of economics, this could lead to a very successful financial portfolio over the long haul. In other words, knowing the history, the whys and hows, being properly informed and educated is crucial, as you will then know which risks to take and which to ignore. And when you can trust your intuition to help you make a decision, you can avoid unnecessary heartbreak. So therefore you have more security. And if you know which risks to take, you can have more success as well. So number two, establish more security and success by becoming a romantic. Number three, more fulfillment occurs. As a romantic, you are not ignoring what has come before. Quite the opposite. A romantic is acknowledging the past and insisting it can be done better and bravely moves forward even when there are doubters. Perhaps a crowd of doubters. Jane Austen, boldly and successfully, as we know, penned 6 novels that, while adhering in many respects to the social norms of propriety, allowed her protagonist to defy triumphantly what was expected of them in order to achieve a more fulfilling personal life for each of them. In other words, to be a romantic, you must know the rules before you can break them. You must have a reason for breaking them, an explanation of why they can no longer be an effective means to the goal they were initially meant to reach. To simply break a rule because it exists is by definition an immature and childish act. But to break a rule that no longer serves its purpose is progress. So number 3, more fulfillment. All right, I'm going to take a 1-minute intermission and I will return on the other side with the final 3 realities of becoming a romantic. Welcome back. We're going to dive into the final 3 realities, or gifts, I should say, of becoming or choosing to become or tapping into you already being a romantic. All right. Number 4 is you're able to design the life of your dreams. A romantic envisions what hasn't been done, but believes arduously that they can do it. A romantic is not limited by the possibilities that exist and rather chooses to explore and experiment with life. These are the risk takers. Romantics are the dreamers, the risk takers, the people who cultivate change for the better, potentially, most of the time. Sometimes not appreciated in that moment, but eventually in the long run. And so doing this, they will often, and more often than not, experience moments, people, and feelings that no one ever before would have been able to explain to them because they hadn't experienced it themselves. As an adult, you have the ability to acquire the independence. You are given the freedom by law, and therefore you have the power, should you choose to use it, to cultivate the life of your dreams. So now I encourage you to get busy doing just that. The life you desire is possible if you have the courage to seek it. And that, my friends, is being a romantic. It's that simple. It really is that simple. So number 4, you are able to design the life of your dreams. Number 5 is that you will remain youthful. A romantic doesn't accept that life as one grows older must be a certain way. Rather, a romantic is constantly questioning, exploring. In other words, they are perpetually curious. And if one is perpetually curious, as I've spoken about in previous posts, and I'll link to those in the show notes, we will then constantly be learning something new. And if we are constantly learning something new, our mind is being exercised, and thus we are staving off potential dementia, and more importantly, defying that life could ever be boring. After all, to watch a baby explore and discover new anything, for that matter, is to see their face light up with wonder and sincere excitement and curiosity, when this will then provoke them to seek and do more because they're like, whoa, if I can find this, maybe I'll find something new, and who knows? And if you continue to unearth that in yourself, no matter what your age, you always have that youthful spirit within you. Doing and exploring is living, and it's living well. To live afraid, to live cautiously, is to regress. And unnecessarily, it will allow you to fall out of love with life. And there's so much in life to love, so much you don't even know that's out there, that's there for you to explore and discover. And so choosing to be romantic is to simply choose curiosity, to choose being youthful, to choose to perpetually be falling in love with life. I don't know why anyone would choose anything else. So number 5, remain youthful. Number 6, the last one, is that you can reach your full potential. And I think if you're tuning in, I am pretty confident that you are someone who wants to reach their full potential. You're trying to tap into what you can do that is innately inside of you, but also stirs your passion so that you can live well, but also live contently and live in a way that you're making the most of who you are and what you can do. And by choosing to be a romantic, you are now going to be able to reach your full potential. A romantic is someone who dares to step inside of themselves. This is not a comfortable place to be if you've never been there before. But once you do it, and once you listen and acknowledge what is being said and figure out who you are, you can begin to answer questions such as what calls you, what makes you want to dance, what tickles your curiosities, what causes you to lose all track of time. Once you have those answers, why wouldn't you want to pursue these activities? Each or every single one of them if you want, or maybe just one or two. Yes, society may expect one thing from you. And if that is in alignment with what speaks to you, what pulls at your passionate heart, by all means, go forth. But if it doesn't, you must let go of tradition and dance to your own music. You must step, quote, out of line, end quote, and live your life so that you can offer your talents to the world. They're there for a reason, to offer to those you love, and most importantly to yourself, these gifts so that you can go to bed each night at peace and feeling content, knowing you have reached or are on your way to reaching your full potential. The best life you can live must be lived intentionally. It must be lived mindfully aware of why you are doing what you are doing. However, in living mindfully, you are also letting life unfold as it will. And this is the tricky part. This is the part where it takes a lot of courage to not want to control everything. But this is also a huge part of being a romantic, of believing that you may not know how everything's going to unfold, but you trust that it will be worthwhile. No, you are not just going along blindly. A romantic doesn't do that either. You are putting yourself in a favorable position. You are determining a direction. And then you kind of let go of the wheel, so to speak, and you see what happens. This is scary because we don't know what life will offer us. And I use the word offer because it is up to us to use or to seize the opportunities when they present themselves along this route, this path that we've allowed ourselves to follow or go down. The opportunities may not be what we had expected, thus the black versus white. We'll have a lot of gray and we may not know how to navigate or make sense of it initially. But indeed, what we will do could be beyond our imagination, or what we experience, I should say, will be beyond our imagination. I encourage you to embrace life, to explore life, and see what magic can occur. You may not be able to predict it, and that may be the greatest gift of all. All right, so that wraps up our podcast with regards to why not be a romantic. And you can find all the show notes on the blog today at www.thesimplyluxuriouslife.com/podcast19. And I'll have all those links I mentioned as well as the quotes I shared from Winston Churchill on that particular blog post. But before I wrap up, we still have to get to our petite pleasure, the first of the year. And since we're talking about being a romantic, I think you might like this simple petite pleasure. Stay tuned. I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. All right, so this week's petite pleasure is something that I guess you could say allows me, or something I actually look forward to at the end of every single day. And it's a simple little lighting of a candle as I am going to bed and doing some reading or writing in my journal. And it's also having a candle to start the morning, as per suggested by Jennifer L. Scott in her latest book, Madame Chic at Home, or At Home with Madame Chic. And I love this concept. But I did start doing it this summer, and I've been doing it pretty religiously every night and on the weekends in the morning when I have time. And it is just a soothing and simple way to add a little bit of luxury, even if it's just for 5, maybe 30 minutes at a time. And I have tried a lot of candles, and I have certain scents that I love, but I will share to you today the candle that I prefer after having gone through a lot of different brands, and also the scents that I prefer, and everyone has their preferred scents. So I'm just going to share with you mine, but I also will have the link to all the different scents that this particular brand makes. So it's a Parisian company, and you've probably heard of it, and you definitely have seen it, no doubt, in decor magazines or shelter magazines like Elle Decor or House Beautiful. But it's a diptych, and they make the most quality scents that I've had. I know there are a handful of other ones that make quality, but this one really just I've been drawn to for the scents that they offer. And I gravitate towards lavender in the evening. And then for the daytime or in the morning, I like their sandalwood because I like the beachy smell. I'm a big beach fan, ocean fan, and I just love that. It just is very nostalgic and a lot of good memories and just calms me down more than anything. And so I'm looking for scents that calm me down, that aren't too over the top. And those two are the ones that I prefer. And they are a bit of an investment, but they do last a very long time. So you can get the mini candle, and that's about $30. Or you can get the full-size candle, and that's $60. But they do last either 30 hours if it's the mini, or 60 hours. They do have a long lifespan. So you're at least getting something that's going to last a long time. And it is something simple, but that scent. There's something about changing your environment, taking a bit of control of that small aspect that makes a tremendous difference. So just a simple luxury, a bit of an investment, maybe save up for it. Start with the small mini and see if you like it. If you don't, try something else, another scent. If you do, buy a larger candle or put on a gift list, a wish list for your family and friends to get one for your birthday or whatnot. I do hope you enjoy as much as I have, because I thoroughly enjoy doing that every single night. And hey, I mean, you do it for yourself, definitely, but it also sets the mood when you have company over, whether you have them out in the living room or anywhere else, or in the bathtub for that matter. If you're just taking a bath, it's a lovely way to set the mood, So if this is something you might be interested, do stop by the show notes today, and I'll have links to the diptyque candles, all different scents, at www.thesimplyluxuriouslife.com/podcast19. I hope you've enjoyed this week's Petit Plaisir, where each week ideas are shared to make the everyday all the more enjoyable. Tune in at the end of each Monday's podcast, where I'll recommend a book, a film, a recipe, or from time to time introduce you to an expert who offers insight into how to live simply luxuriously. Anything that is a simple pleasure to satiate your sophisticated taste. Thank you for tuning in to the SImple Sophisticate podcast, where intelligent living is paired with signature style. For more ideas and inspiration throughout the week, stop by the blog, thesimplyluxuriouslife.com, or pick up the book, Choosing the Simply Luxurious Life, A Modern Woman's Guide. Until next Monday, I'm your host, Shannon Ables. Bonjour!